In our maiden flight, we will test both stabilized and altitude flight modes provided by PX4 with the DEXI airframe. Now, this does assume you have flown a drone before, but let's briefly go over the stick configuration. The left stick will control DEXI's throttle and yaw, so pushing forward and back, DEXI will ascend and descend, and then left and right will control DEXI's counterclockwise and clockwise rotation. Our right stick controls DEXI's position both forward and back, and left and right. I'll press the left button to arm DEXI. I'll give a bit of throttle with the left stick to get DEXI into the air. Keep in mind that DEXI is tuned to hover at about 50% throttle. You'll notice that my right stick is controlling DEXI's position, moving forward and back, left and right. And now with the left stick, I'm using the left and right movement to yaw DEXI counterclockwise and clockwise. It's always a good exercise just to get familiar with the characteristics of how DEXI flies. So now I'm really going to focus on keeping DEXI about 3 feet above the ground, trying to maintain its position, and just get an overall understanding of what it takes to keep DEXI stable and in position. Then I'll slowly descend so we get DEXI back on the ground, and once that's done, I'll press the arming button to disarm. Now let's proceed with altitude flight mode. I'll put the switch in the middle position. I'll press the arming button. And altitude mode behaves a little bit differently than stabilized mode. You won't see throttle increase until about 50%. Think of it very similar to a DJI drone where the stick is centered in the middle position. And so once you get to about halfway, you can give enough throttle to take off. And now what I'm going to do is get the throttle at a place where DEXI is no longer ascending or descending. You can see that it's maintaining altitude nicely. So that allows us to use just the right stick to control DEXI's position. You can see here I'm giving a little more throttle to get back at a higher altitude. I no longer need to use my left stick as DEXI is now maintaining a nice altitude, very consistent, and that just makes it a lot easier to keep your current altitude and use your right stick to control both pitch and roll. So I'm using the throttle stick just a little bit to adjust DEXI's altitude, but now I'm able to keep a constant height above the ground and only use my right stick. So now I'll go ahead and lower the throttle and come in for a landing. We'll make sure that our throttle is all the way down and DEXI will disarm.